Just going back to your horticulture stuff, how have you found that horticulture has helped you in your business? What sort of stuff from the horticultural are you applying in your business, or how does it help you?
Look, it gave me broad knowledge about plants, about pests, about diseases, about weeds, about the chemicals, about the tools. It was a full-time course in 6 months. The knowledge that you can have about plants is infinite. There is so much to learn. Thanks to the course, I am able to distinguish between different chemicals, how to use them, how to mix them, different kind of soil. That was really, really important. So I truly recommend horticulture to everyone in the business, because it's gonna make you feel more confident, especially when you talk to people, when you talk to your clients. Because if you can throw in there some specific words, some kind of science, your customer is gonna think that you have the knowledge, which you do actually. And also you can probably charge a little bit more than the average gardener because you are qualified.
So Francesco, thank you for joining us today on the Jim's Mowing and the Jim's Group podcast. And it's great to see your face again. As you said before, the podcast, you were down in training in February. I remember meeting you there. I don't forget your accent. And
Yeah.
It's great to be able to follow up with you and see how you've been going. So how's everything been going with you? Is it with your business?
Oh yeah, look, since I started, everything is going very, very well. I'm loving the industry, I'm loving the business. And I think I made a great choice to join the franchise because I received lots of support, not just from the head office, because, I always get plenty of leads to get me going, but also from the other guys of the franchise in my area. We work together. Every time I have a question, I can ask them. We have a Facebook group and we chat all the time. We interact with each other. So that's what I like of being part of the franchising, because I feel like it's a family. So if any time I need some support for anything, I know I can ask to someone.
Do you want to talk about how your business is structured? Are you working 5 days a week, or are you working shorter, or how do you structure your business?
Look, I'm really flexible. Sometimes I work weekends. Sometimes I only work 3 days during the week. I just started 6 months ago, so I'm still building my clientele because I purchased a brand new territory with no clients. So I started from scratch pretty much. So at the moment, I'm still in the process of building like a full-time schedule. On average, I probably work between 3 to 4 days at the moment, which is okay, because one of the reasons why I wanted to start this business was to have more flexibility with my time, a better balance between life and work. So instead of working the classic 9 to 5 hours, 5 days a week, with this job, I can work same amount of hours, but distributed during the week in a different way. And that's what makes me happy, because I feel that finally I can have a much better life. Because if one day I need the day off, I can just move my jobs around and have the day off on that day. And still making enough income and plenty of money to pay all the expenses and make profit.
Now, what were you doing prior to Jim's Mowing?
Before I was retail manager, like in a bike shop. I've been there for 6 years.
Okay, and was you just sick of it, or what happened there?
Yeah, I just had enough of working for someone. I just wanted to be independent, and also I was looking for something active, something I could do outdoor. And so I connected the dots and said, oh, I can be a gardener, because here where I live on the Sunshine Coast, there is plenty of work in the industry. And I didn't actually know anything about gardening. Even to do the lawn in my house, I used to have a gardener who was coming to do it because I never touched a mower or a whippersnipper before doing this job, like literally zero. So because I had no knowledge, and when I do things, I want to do them properly, I enrolled TAFE, and I did a 6-month full-time course in horticulture that gave me some knowledge to get into the industry. And then I started going out with some franchisees from my area, and they taught me the job, how to use the tools, how to do the quality, how to assess a job, and all these kind of things. And everything was pretty natural to me. Like, it didn't take too long to learn the business. Now I feel very confident. The first 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't really know what I was doing, going to people properties, and I was scared of ripping off the lawn or making massive holes in the hedges.
Yeah.
But actually, I didn't do any big mistake. And my star rating is pretty good. Like, I think I
Your
got
perfect rating. Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
35 5-star reviews so far. And because, I've been in customer service for over 10 years, including my career in Italy before, because I'm from Italy. And so I have a good customer service, good communication. I like interacting with people, When I visit a property, if someone is home, I always entertain them, I like have a little bit of a chat, ask how they are and stuff like that, The main thing is listening to people and understanding what they want, and then do the job according to what they want without inventing too many things.
I think as well, it's great you mentioned about you came in there and, you bit in the first 2-3 weeks, because a lot of guys come from corporate backgrounds as well, and they might be in the same position as you. I'd definitely be in the same position. I don't have a mower or anything as well, but there's a lot of guys who come in there, but I think people get the wrong perception that the guys who are the newer guys probably take their time a lot more sometimes as well. So you come in there, you're going to take your time and concentrate a lot more probably than, let's say, some guy comes in from a previous experience or something like that. So it's not a bad thing to be a new guy at it, because you'd really take that time to make sure you get everything 100%, as opposed to some people coming in with some maybe other habits or whatever, might do it a bit differently, but you guys take your time.
Yeah, 100%. Also because I started with no knowledge, and I've been trained by 2 really good franchisees from the Sunshine Coast. They taught me straight away how to do things properly. So when I started, I already knew all the processes, how to approach a property, how to do the quoting, how to use and maintain the tools. Because I think I started training in January, and then I started running my own business in April. So I had 3 months of prior learning before starting on my own. And that was very, very important to me, because without the training that I received from the other franchisees, it would have been much, much more difficult. And even the training that I've done in Melbourne, that was really good. It was like a few days of training, and I learned a lot from the other guys.
Yeah, because did you do the 6-month horticulture before you started as being a franchisee, or was it after?
I started at the same time. So
Yep.
I enrolled Dave in January, and I finished my course in June. So when I started running my business in April, I was still going to Dave 3 days a week. So it was like a transitioning period when I was pretty much going to Dave Monday to Wednesday, and then running the business the other days of the week. But at the beginning, I didn't have much work because I started from scratch. So it was okay. Now I built my clientele. I have, I think I have at least 30 regular clients at the moment. Plus, you always get the odd jobs, like random massive cleanups that they fix up the week, because they are good jobs. You can make $1,000, $1,500 in a day, and that's a good week
Money.
already. And, for instance, to give you an example, I never have had the need to use the pay for work guarantee, because I was always over the $1,500 mark every week.
That's great to hear. And I was going to say, up here in Sunshine Coast, so you're on Sunrise Beach, beautiful, beautiful part of the world that is up there, and be some nice gardens. But how do you go with the heat? Because it can be quite physical jobs. So how have you been finding that?
Look, I've been living on the Sunshine Coast for over 10 years now, so I am pretty used to the temperature. Of course, it makes it a little bit tougher, especially when it's humid. So make sure you bring some spare shirts with you and plenty of water, because you need it. But, I'm a pretty fit person, so I've done endurance sports for many years, like running, cycling. So it's not a big drama for me. Like, as long as I got my water and my spare shirts, I'm okay. At the moment, it's been very, very dry up here. We need more rain, because all the grass is dying at the moment. It looks brown and patchy everywhere.
Yeah, it is dry. Yeah, so that's all the other things like rubbish removals and all that sort of stuff. Hopefully other services that people can use you guys for. And I was going to say though, so 10 years, what made you just settle on the Sunshine Coast where you are?
Look, I moved to it from Italy 10 years ago on a working holiday visa. Like, I was 28 at the time. So I wanted to travel. I wanted to experience new cultures. I wanted to learn English because when I came here, I couldn't speak any English at all. Just a little bit, just the basics.
And Australia's not an easy country to learn English as well. It's probably one of the harder ones.
Look, I think that you guys have the best accent out of all the other accents. Or maybe it's because I'm used to it, but I can understand perfectly Australian accent. Probably the British or the Scottish is a little bit more difficult to for me.
Scottish is not easy.
It's
not easy.
But by now, like, my listening is really good. Like, especially because I worked in customer service for 6 years, so talking to people every day over the phone as well. So my listening is really good. And yeah, anyway, to come back to your question, basically, yeah, I arrived here. I was working hospitality. Then I worked on a farm to extend my working holiday visa. And then I met someone and we started a relationship. And that's the reason why I stayed in Australia eventually. And now I am a citizen, actually. So I got my passport last year.
Oh, well done. Congratulations. And I was going to say as well, just going back to your horticulture stuff, how have you found that horticulture qualification or has helped you in your business? What are some of the actual practical... So trying to get a lot more guys to do the horticulture, because obviously you do there's a little introduction here at Jim's to try and sort of give you a taste to lead into it. So what sort of stuff from the horticultural, what you've gone through, are you applying in your business, or how does it help you?
Look, it gave me round knowledge about plants, about pests, about diseases, about weeds, about the chemicals, about the tools. So it was a full-time course in 6 months. And of course, the knowledge that you can have about plants is infinite. There is so much to learn, like all the names, the botanical names. But the horticulture course was really, really important to me to give me just, like a start in the industry, just because I literally had zero knowledge. So, but now thanks to the course, I am able to distinguish between different chemicals, how to use them, how to mix them, or I know the different kind of weeds, different kind of plants, different kind of soil. So that was really, really important. There was lots of practice on the tools, like how to do the maintenance, even though now all my tools are battery operated, so I don't really have to do much maintenance, to be fair, but that was helpful as well. So I truly recommend horticulture to everyone in the business because it's going to make you feel more confident, especially when you talk to people, when you talk to your clients. Because if you can throw in there some, specific words, some kind of science, your customer is going to think that you have the knowledge, which you do actually. So, and that's when you can offer a better service, and also you can probably charge a little bit more than the average gardener because you're qualified. Like I put on my business cards that I am qualified in horticulture, that I have a Cert 3 in horticulture. So that for sure makes the difference.
Absolutely. And, if you got someone who's passionate about their garden, or you can see they know a little bit about their garden, you can just come in straight away and identify plants on the spot. It just demonstrates that knowledge straight away that you know what you're doing and you're not just some...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And for sure, you make your knowledge on the field, You can learn, like I went to a client to do a garden cleanup and she used to own a nursery. So she knew everything about plants, much more than me. So I felt a little bit uncomfortable in that situation because I couldn't keep up with her knowledge. And I told her, look, I recently qualified in horticulture, but of course I'm still learning. So you can always learn on the field. You can always learn from your clients because people are passionate about gardens, about plants. So there are people that they're going to know much more than you, even though you are a gardener.
And have you enjoyed working for yourself? Going from employee to working for yourself is a big change. And how was that? Maybe the early weeks of that transition. How was it?
Look, I love it because I'm a very well organized person. So my organizing skills are very on point. So I love the fact that I can just organize my day, my week, my schedule the way I want, and no one is going to tell me what to do. I just have to respect some clients because I have to go to some clients on specific days of the week for different kind of reasons. But that's everything. Then I make the week work the way I want pretty much. Sometimes on the job, you may feel a little bit lonely, especially because I don't have an offsider. So I am by myself. So sometimes, you your mind goes 1,000 miles per hour, thinking, so many things in your life. But, that's okay. Once you get into the job and you start mowing or doing the gardening, you're in the zone, you just want to finish pretty much. And then you can always interact with your clients, not always when you go to a property, there is someone there because people work during the day. But, sometimes, especially with elderly people, they are always there and they are always happy to have a little bit of a chat. Not too long, otherwise you get stuck in there.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point you make about, because it can be, being a sole trader sometimes, and a lot of guys have the offside forwards so they can have someone to talk to. But do you listen to any podcasts or do you listen to music or?
No, I don't listen to anything because, when I'm using power tools and stuff, I want to be aware of what's surrounding me for safety. I want to make sure that I can hear if there is a snake or whatever. So I don't put earphones. I don't listen to anything, to be fair. Yeah, that's just something like, it's a safety thing that I do. And also I feel like I can focus more. Like if I'm listening to stuff, then I can get distracted. And I might miss things to do. Then if I am just in my mind, I know I'm focusing much more.
That's good to hear.
I think it's important for safety because, if you're using the whippersnipper or the hedge or something, and someone comes from behind, like your client, and you don't hear anything, it could be dangerous. So you want to make sure that you are aware of your environment around you.
And I was going to say as well, looking back in the training, how was the training overall when you coming from, to what you're doing now? How did you find Jim's training experience overall?
You mean the one in Melbourne or the one with the franchisees?
Well, who were the franchisees actually? Let's give them a shout out. Who were the franchisees that helped you out up there?
The franchisees, it was Chris from Golden Beach and Anthony from Coolum and Mount Coolum. They are the two people that trained me. So big shout out to them because they were very, very helpful. And I'm still collaborating a lot with Anthony because we live 10 minutes away. So he's already very well established. So sometimes when he's too busy, I go with him and I help him. So that's good. The training was awesome because those two guys were very patient with me. So they understood that I knew nothing about it, but they used their own time to teach me how to run my own business. And potentially I was going to be their competitor, because I was going to operate pretty much in the same area. But I really appreciate their help. Like, it was awesome. To be fair, I'm really, really grateful that I came across both of them because they were very, very good trainers. And then, the training in Melbourne, that was good, to learn more about the quoting process, all bookkeeping, all the legislations around and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's great. How long was the infield training with the franchisees up there? Was it a couple of weeks or how long did you go with them for?
It was over a period of 3-4 months, basically, up until I started running my business independently. So every week I was going once or twice, sometimes 3 times, just very casual because at the same time I was going to TAFE. So I was also studying full time at TAFE. So every time I could go, I would. It was just a flexible arrangement. So I wasn't asking for money. I wasn't paid. I was just going there to learn.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And a good part of the gym system is that sort of support and the camaraderie. And you're right. People might on the outside look at it and think, that guy's going to be a competitor, but it's generally not the case. And the more trailers and the more vehicles in the area, the better it is for everyone.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't feel the competition from the other guys. I'm pretty sure that there is plenty of work for everyone. And also, I think because many of the other guys in the area, they are already established, they may have their leads off because I keep getting leads from everywhere on the Sunshine Coast, So I'm pretty sure that probably the other guys at the moment, they are already very, very busy with their regular customers. So I keep getting leads from everywhere. So I don't really feel the competition. I don't think it's a massive issue. I'm pretty sure that there are more independent contractors out there than Jim's franchisees. So that's probably where the competition could be. Especially on the social media, they advertise very cheap, very cheap prices.
Yeah, they won't stay around for that long with the prices some of the guys, advertise with. They're not $40 lawns and stuff I've seen. It's very $30 lawns, and it's just,
that's pretty difficult to, to compete with that kind of pricing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you don't want those customers who just want it purely on price. They want a quality service and they want a quality job.
That's why, I managed to keep my pricing pretty good, I would say. Like, I have a good average, and you have to sell your quality. So that's the secret. You have to sell your quality, your knowledge. Also, you have to be reliable, because I heard many customers complaining that, oh, my garden disappeared. They didn't get back to me. I don't know where they are. My thing is that I always reply straight away. So as soon as I get a lead through call center, within literally 10 seconds, I call the customer straight away. And with my regulars, if they call me or if they text me, I reply straight away as well. And I am very punctual, so I always give a time, and I always respect the time I'm going to be there. It's all about communication pretty much. We are in customer service. So if you provide clear and reliable understanding communication, you're going to be successful. Because people, they want to know when you're going, what you're going to do, and how much you're going to charge. If you explain everything properly and you can sell yourself and your service, they're not going to say, oh, no, sorry, you're too expensive. No, because basically they're just sold. They understand that you are a professional person, and people, they want to deal with professionals, not with someone that one day is going to do the job, but the next day is not going to be there to do it again,
And how do you sell your quality then? So you made a really good point about quality, and a lot of people say, what's an example of you selling a quality to a client? Is it just something where doing that by telling them up front what you can do the full service, or how do you go about doing that with someone?
I tell them that I am very professional, that I pay attention to detail, that I'm not going to leave a mess around, that when I finish, the whole property will be completely cleaned up. And I always double, if they are in the house, if they are on the property while I'm doing the service, I always go and check with them. I call them out and say, hey, can you come outside and check that, I don't know, I'm cutting the edges to the right height. I always try to get feedback. If they're not there, then I just do the job. And when I finish, I always take before and after pictures, and then I send the pictures to the clients. And they always appreciate that, because I say, oh, look, first of all, they know that you've been there and that you've done the job. And then they can already appreciate it before coming back home. So when they come back home, then they can see it in person and say, oh, wow, it looks amazing. So that's the way I sell my quality. But the main thing is that I always make the point that I am professional and I treat the property like if it was mine. And if there is something that they don't like or they want me to fix it, I'll just go back and do it again. No question asked. I offer 100% satisfaction.
It's great. That's great to hear. And your ratings are reflective of that as well. I was going to say as well, with running a business now, is there anything that surprised you about running a business? Is there anything that you're sort of learning now that you maybe at the start wish you knew, or was there been anything surprising during your business?
Not really, because I prepared myself very well. So before April, which was the official date when I started running the business, I studied a lot about tax, accounting, bookkeeping. I do everything myself, even though actually I have a degree in economics that I took in Italy.
Wow.
So
not an easy degree. It's not an easy degree. Economics. It's not an easy degree, economics. People who do economics, I know a couple of people who've I've got a mate who did a Masters of Economics in Melbourne. He's a very, very smart person. So obviously you're very smart individual.
Switched on with my mind. So even my accountant told me, you don't need to come here. You can do your books yourself. He saved the money. So, okay, my accountant told me, I've never seen such organized books. Because I print your CD, with all the receipts, all the invoices. I keep everything digital, double copy of everything. So, running the business is pretty easy for me. It's all about organization. I can understand some people might feel overwhelmed with the amount of organization that goes through running a business, but you have to practice and you have to try to find your way. Then you can always ask for help, You can have a bookkeeper or accountant or some business advisor, whatever. I try to do everything myself because I like having full control on what I do. And also it saves me money because if I can do everything myself, I don't have to pay someone else.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that out there is all the information. Like when I started, I didn't know how to do the ADN. I just went on the website and I found out how to open an ADN. So what I like of Australia is that all the government websites are very clear and you can actually learn a lot and do everything yourself. So it's not difficult.
I'm glad to hear that. And I was going to say, it's quite amazing. Yeah, economics degree, in Italy, and then you've gone and you're in Australia running a Jim's Mowing franchise on the Sunshine Coast. It's a pretty amazing journey. What do your friends back home think about it, or your family?
When I told my family that I was going to be a gardener, they say, you don't know anything about plants. And I know, but I'm going to learn. And Ariel was very surprised and a bit skeptical, to be fair, because like my family has never been here, so they don't really know the environment. They don't know that this industry is a good industry in Australia. They think that if you're a gardener in Italy, you are maybe in the low income threshold, someone that has never been to school or something like that. So there is a little bit of, preconceived ideas behind being a gardener. But that's because of the culture in Italy. Then here in Australia, if you are a gardener, you can actually make more money than a lawyer if you want.
Yeah.
It's literally just up to you. You can build your business as big as you want, Like, I'm not planning to go crazy and adding employees and multiple trailers because I want to keep a good lifestyle, like I put a good life-work balance. But you can do as much as you want. It's all up to you, You can go crazy with marketing, advertising, referrals, and pick up so many clients that then you're going to be so busy that next minute, you're going to need a second car, a second trailer, and 2 people working for you, Yeah. It's all in your potential. It's all about what you want to achieve, pretty much. I don't think there is a limit.
You make a great comment about the culture, but even in Australia, though, Francesco, some people still think the gardening guy or the cleaning guy, they're making, not that much money, when it's in Australia, they're paid really well. If people don't realize the potentials that's there. And, people have their sometimes they have it wrong that you've got to go to uni, do a law degree or do working banking or something, and then, wait 10, 15 years and then, get that payout or whatever it is. Whereas you can stay fit, you can do something that's for yourself. And gardeners are the happiest people in the world, according to the professions. It's gardeners and florists are the top 2. And you can make great money as well. I just don't think people realize, they sometimes think it's too good to be true, but it's such a really good business. And as you said, you've got the lifestyle business, which you want. So you've got that way. But if you did ever want to expand it or grow it, you've got the potential to do that as well and to do some really good income.
Yeah, like our society puts in our minds lots of ideas, and then most people, they follow them. They say, okay, I need to go to school, then I need to go to uni so I can get a good job, but then I can afford a mortgage, and then I can get married, and then I can have kids, and then my life is over. Then I have a different kind of view. As far as, I still have to make enough money to have a good lifestyle, but I want to make money my way, First thing, I want to be my own boss. I don't want to rely on, I don't want to be subordinated to anyone. And that was the first drive that made me do this choice. And then I wanted to be something active. I didn't want to stay sitting in front of a computer 8 hours a day, or maybe between the walls of a shop. I just wanted to be outside. So that's why gardening was a pretty easy pick for me. And I'm just loving it. And yes, you can definitely make money. And I'm pretty sure that there are plenty of gardeners out there that maybe before they were lawyers, doctors, or whatever they were, I don't know. And they just chose to do something different, just to have a better lifestyle. Because, it can be a tough job, especially in Queensland during summer. Yes, you have to be fit to be doing this kind of job. If all your life you were sitting on a couch, maybe I'm not sure if you're going to be able to do this job.
Yeah.
But if you have some kind of fitness and your body is still functioning, then it's a great choice.
Yeah, it's great to hear. What your comments are fantastic because we get a lot of people through training. We got guys who used to be CEOs, accountants, and stuff, and and they carry a bit of weight and stuff, and then they push through that first couple of months, and then they've lost 20 kilos, and they're so much happier, and all their friends and family say they're so much better. Plus, they can make the same amount of money or even more doing this, doing this role, and it's this sort of. It's unfortunately, like as you said, in schools, you just in Australia anyway. This is how we're taught. You go to year 11 and 12 and everything's on year 12 to get good marks to go to university. No one talks about doing a business. It's all, you either, you do a trade and they consider you dumb for doing a trade, or you go to university. There's nothing about small business, or maybe you could be a business owner. So it's pretty unfortunate that we don't teach young people about business or small business as an opportunity when they're younger.
100%. And look, in Italy, it's the same. In Italy, we have the culture that you go to school, you go to uni, you try to get a job, and once you get it, you try to keep the job for the rest of your life. Because Italy is a little bit different from Australia, In Italy, if you lose your job, I don't know, in your 40s, you're not going to find anything else. Because once you are over 40, you're completely out of the job market. Unless you have like crazy skills, like that you are like a top engineer, a top doctor or whatever. But otherwise, like, people, they really struggle. I have friends that I started with them in 2010, like in a retail shop in Italy. And after, 14 years, they're still there. And they don't want to quit the job, because if they quit the job, they're not going to find anything else. And it's a shame that the culture, like, let's say worldwide, is this one. Go to school, go to uni, get employed by someone, and try to have a good life. When you can just, start your own business in whatever. It doesn't have to be gardening. It could be anything. If you're in Australia and you want to go through a franchise just to have support, there is gyms, so many divisions. You can pick pretty much anything you want from gyms. I felt comfortable going with gyms because I've never done business before. I weighed like the cost of going independent versus going with gyms. And I said, you know what? I think I feel safer and more supported going through gyms. And that's why eventually I did it. And, I took all the information. Like, I remember before signing the contract, I rang at least 20 franchisees from different areas, and everyone gave me good feedback. So I said, okay, if 20 people are giving me good feedback, it must be good, And I knew gyms already, even though I'm not Australian, but I lived there for 10 years, and I've seen plenty of time the trailers or Jim's Antenna, Jim's Dog Wash. So I knew it was a big brand. But it was important for me to talk to actual real people, real franchisees, And that was what made me decide eventually and say, okay, I'm going to go with gyms. Another point that one of the franchisees made was, if you choose to go, for instance, on holidays, you want to have some time off, 2, 3, 4 weeks. If you're independent, when you come back, you may have lost lots of customers because people, they're not going to wait for you if they need the gardening done. But if you're part of a network, you can ask the other franchisees to do your jobs while you are away. So that was another good point. I said, okay, because, maybe next year I want to go to Italy for 4 weeks. Who is going to take care of my clients? I can just ask the other franchisees, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to be okay to take care of my clients. That there is a cost in accessing gyms, but I think that the benefit you get and the support you get is really, really worth it. I know it's worth it because before I make a decision, I really study a lot about it. And if I go to this decision, it's because it was the right one. Otherwise,
research. You're good, man. And Jim, I'll tell Jim when I get out of here that you called 20 franchisees. I probably reckon that's the most I've heard someone call before doing it. That's great. That's what Jim.
I called pretty much everyone from my region, up like Sunshine Coast, all the way up to, I think was Gladstone. That was really important. It is something that you want to do. When you join a franchise, you want to make sure that everything is going well.
Well, I'm glad you did that because a lot of people don't, unfortunately, sometimes do that. But you did that, and that's really, really good to hear because Jim always preaches that online. We say, He says, get a list of all the franchisees in the area which you're allowed to get, finished and current ones, and call them up and just see for yourself, as opposed to just believing.
Yeah. I actually called even the finished ones, and they told me that they just sold the business just because they were retiring. No one told me, I'm selling the business because they're ripping me off. No, I just want to retire. I just want to change career. I just moved to somewhere else in Australia. So, and now I am part of the franchising, and I'm fine. I like it. Like, without the franchising, I wouldn't be where I am right now, to be fair. So I'm really thankful to the whole system. I think it works. It works very well.
Great to hear. But from meeting from a small time, I'm sure you could have made it work by yourself. I'm sure you would have been able to do it. But it's just great to hear. It just makes it easier. Like the brand makes it easier. You don't have to worry about website. You don't have to worry about all that stuff. It's just easier for you.
Yeah, exactly. Because when I was thinking to go independent, I said, okay, I need to create the website. I need to create the social media. I need to create all the flyers, all the marketing. And so I said, okay, there are going to be lots of costs. It's not going to be free. Even though I'm doing myself, but I have to pay a web designer. There are lots of things. Then with gyms, straight from day one, I got phone calls already. I remember I was in my first week, I got a lead that was a $1,500 job in my first week. So without being part of the franchising, probably my first phone call would have been after weeks of doing letterbox drop,
And it just gives you a better chance to succeed, statistically, compared to gyms to an independent, it's just far better chance to succeed. So if you're doing, if you're doing the math on it, if you're a risk adverse person doing a gym's franchise or just another good franchise in general, statistically, you're more likely to succeed than you will as an independent. Because as you said, getting your website done, then you've got to do SEO, you've got to do Google ads, you might do letterbox drops. It's very expensive. And there's a lot of dodgy agencies out there as well. So,
and it's not just it's not just expensive, but then it's time that you have to invest. I don't invest any time in doing marketing. I've done like a letterbox drop with my flyers a couple of times in my area. That was just a few hours. And that's pretty much it. Then because you guys do all the advertising, and gyms is a very well-known brand in Australia, people that just call the call center, and then I get all the leads through, So I don't really have to worry too much about doing advertising. In my area, I do letterbox drop, I talk to people, I try to source my own work for sure. But if you were independent, there would be no support, and you would start literally from nothing. And starting making money, it would have taken much, much longer.
And also the ability to charge a better rate. A lot of independents compete on price. It's hard to compete on quality when you're not known. So when you have a brand behind you,
exactly. And I noticed here in Australia, many people, they want to make sure that you are insured, police checked, all these kind of things. And I'm pretty sure that because they know that Jim's Mowing is a franchise, they already know, okay, if I call them, the person is coming to my house, has already been checked, and they must be fully insured, so they feel safe. Then if they call someone off Facebook, someone that they don't know, probably they don't have any insurance. They don't even provide an invoice or whatever, That's why they are able to charge $30, $40 for a gardening service, And
then the customer gets frustrated when they do a bad job, and then they come to us eventually, which is what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And even from the client's perspective, if they have to complain, they have the call center. So they have something that is going to listen to them. So we don't want to get complaints because we want to be always professional. We always want to do a good job, right? But as a customer, if I was a customer, I knew, okay, if I didn't like the job, instead of calling the person, the independent contractor that probably is not even going to reply to my phone call, I can call the call center. And that's like an institution. So I call the call center, I place my complaint, they will take care of it because their gardener is part of their system. So they have to make sure they come and fix the mistake, So I think that people, they feel safer when they call gyms rather than someone independent.
even if it's not resolved, well, sometimes complaints get escalated to Jim. So a lot of time, a lot of Jim's days spent dealing with complaints that get escalated to him, which I think a lot of people don't really realize that. But yeah, they get surprised when Jim emails the customer back because his email doesn't look too official. It just says Jim on the back bottom. But yeah, Jim getting involved in complaints as well, I think is a big thing for us, and it definitely really unique point for people to use Jim's is that the CEO and founder and gets involved in complaints, which I don't think any other.
Yeah.
I don't know if any other organisation of our size is not getting involved in complaints.
No, bro. And I remember that when I met Jim in Melbourne, I remember him being really, really passionate about the business. And I think he's passionate also about like looking after all the franchisees. That's the feeling I got from him because I spent a little bit of time talking to him and, you know, I felt reassured. I said, okay, he's a nice guy. I can trust him.
That's good to hear. Well, I've got to jump onto another meeting, Francesco, but thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for wearing a nice clean shirt as well. Some people don't rock up with it.
Yeah, this was my clean one.
That's great. Thank you very much for doing that. We'll get you the call voucher as well. But it's really great to hear because we met you in training. I do remember meeting you there, and we've got a little clip, I think, with you somewhere online, and to see how you've gone from there to there. And it's a great story what you've done. And I'm glad to hear you're happy as well. You seem very happy doing what you're doing. And it's great. Going to be great to see how your business develops over the time if you do decide to expand it or you keep doing the lifestyle business or how you progress, because you're not even out of your first year yet. So the first year in business is always the toughest. So
I've done literally, I think it's 7 months tomorrow.
Yeah, 7 months. So you've still got, the first year to get through. So you've done really well in the first year. So it's going to be great to see how your business progresses over time and where you go.
I'm pretty sure that the opportunity to grow is there. Then it will be up to me what I want to do. If I want to keep my lifestyle or maybe if I want to grow even more. I haven't decided. Like, I'm happy where I am now, so we'll see for the future.
You're a good man, mate.
Potential is out there for sure.
Absolutely. Well, you're a good man, and thank you very much for your time today. I'll get that a call voucher to you.
Thanks, Lou.
And you provide a lot of great information as well. And keep up the great work. And yeah, looking forward to seeing maybe in a couple of years or something what you do. And yeah, stay in touch with Jim especially as well. But just great to see how you're doing.
I understand that now Jim's bought my region as well. So he's like my franchisor.
Yes, technically he is. Yes. So you got any complaints, you can go to him.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. So now I can have more direct contact with him. Yeah.
Absolutely. But no, thank you very much for your time, mate. I'll let you get you going, and we'll get that a call voucher to you as well. That comes via email. So it'll come via email. You set it up, you get a digital card. That gives you 2 free nights to any Accor hotel in the world. So it's not just Australia. And it gives you 50% of dining for 2 people. So I've used it before, so you and your partner can go out, 50% of the meal at any of their places as well. So there'll be a lot of places on the list you can look at. And that's worth around $600. So we'll get that to you as well. Takes around 5 to 6 days. So just keep an eye on your emails for that one.
All right. I appreciate that. Very good. I'm going to plan a little holiday somewhere.
Good man. No worries. Thanks very much, Francesco. No worries.
All right. Thank you.
See you. Bye. Thank you for listening to the episode of the More Than Just Mowing podcast by Jim's Mowing. If you do need help with your local gardening expert, please give us a call on 131 546 for Australia, 0800 454 654 for New Zealand, or head to jimsmowing.com.au or jimsmowing.co.nz. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to leave us a review as well, wherever you consume your podcast. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.